Jai Shanidev friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I pray to Almighty to bless you always and fulfill all your dreams. I welcome you to the world's most easiest tutorial on the basics of Vedic astrology. I have invested lot of days and hours in preparing this video tutorial so that it will be very easy for you to understand the concepts of Vedic astrology. First, let us discuss what we will learn in this video. We will learn how to read a birth chart in Vedic astrology, what does houses represents in a birth chart, what is the meaning of numbers in houses, which number belongs to which planet, how to know the lord of the house, the relation between different planets, aspects of different planets, which are malefic houses in a birth chart, which are benefic houses in a birth chart, what does degrees of a planet represent in a birth chart, what are the stages according to degrees of planets, how to find moon sign and ascendant sign of a birth chart, what is the malefic planet and how to find malefic planet in a birth chart, what is benefic planet and how to find benefic planet in a birth chart, what is neutral planet and how to find neutral planet in a birth chart. We will be discussing all concept revision in different birth chart, and we will also take different tests after each topics. As I am not charging you anything for this tutorial, and if you want to learn this concept of Vedic astrology, people will charge some amount from you, and even after making payment you will not get this quality what I have prepared after investing few days in it. So if you want to pay something to me, then you can pay by watching the complete video. You can share this video as much as you can like this video and ask others to like this video. In these different ways you can pay me the fees of this tutorial. So let's move forward and first discuss about the birth chart, how it look likes in Vedic astrology. A birth chart in Vedic astrology is like this. As you can see here, there are 12 houses in this birth chart. This is the basic format of a birth chart in Vedic astrology. Right now it is blank and there is no number written in it. I have prepared it to let you know the basic format first. So how to start counting the houses in birth chart? Let's discuss it now. We start counting birth chart from this house. As you can see here, this is our first house in a birth chart, and we move in a counterclockwise direction. This is first house, this is our second house, this is our third house, this is our fourth house, this is our fifth house, this is our sixth house, this is our seventh house, this is our eighth house, this is our ninth house, this is our 10th house, this is our 11th house, and this is our 12th house. So this is the birth chart which is representing the numbers of houses. Here we are not discussing the numbers written in the houses. These numbers represent the exact position of the house. So there are 12 houses in a birth chart. So let's take a quick test here. What is the position of this house in this birth chart? So you have to answer this question. So what is the position of this house in this birth chart? So the position of this house is third position. So this is our third house in birth chart. So let's do a test again. So what is the position of this house in the birth chart? You have to tell me quickly. So this is our seventh house in the birth chart, right? So now let's move forward and discuss what houses represent in birth chart. This is very important in Vedic astrology because you have to have the knowledge of each and every house. What does all these houses, that means all the 12 houses, represent in a birth chart? So first house, this is our first house. This house represent the person themselves, our head, our hair and head, our skull, our brain, general health and immunity, place of birth, general characteristic of a person, thinking and mind, power or status, etc. So these are the traits or quality, you can say, or properties of first house, which is very important. This is our second house. This house represent our health. This house represent our wealth, assets, material possessions like clothing, jewelry, household, etc. This house also represent our voice, our mouth, our tongue area of the body. This house is also called the Marak house or the killer house. This house also represent the right eye for the male and left eye for female. So these are the common traits or properties of this house. Now let's move forward and discuss about the third house. Our third house represents our siblings, that means our co-bones, younger ones, younger brothers, younger sisters, our neighbors and surroundings, our courage, our throat and neck area. It also represents our communication, media, journalism, like that. It also represents our short distance travel, short term goals as well, zeal to work. It also represents our ears and hearing. So these are the common traits of third house. So let's move forward and discuss what fourth house represent. Fourth house represent mother, motherland, vehicles. Our vehicles is represented by fourth house. Our fixed property, our agricultural property as well, our chest and lungs area, our heart, peace of mind is also represented by this house. So these are the common traits of fourth house. So now let's move forward and discuss about the fifth house. Fifth house represent our creativity, our children, our imagination, our imaginations, our emotions which is related to our romance life, our emotions which is related to our romance life, our memory. It also represents speculation like gambling, stock markets, etc. It's also represent our past life, our past karma. It is the house of wealth. It also represents our higher education. It represents our stomach. It represents our lower heart area. It also represents our liver, spleen and kidneys. So this is very important house in a birth chart. So let's move forward and discuss about the sixth house in a birth chart. Sixth house represent our enemies, our short term acute sickness also represented by this house, injuries, surgeries. This house represents our debt, our litigation, legal issues. This house represents competitions. This house represents break of relationships as well. This house represents our workload. This house represents our service and servants. This house represents diseases, fire. This house represents our pancreas, our small intestines, lower back, urinary bladder. So sixth house is considered as a malefic house. So these are the common traits of sixth house. So now let's move forward and discuss about the seventh house, what seventh house represent. Seventh house represents our relationship with our wife, relationship with our partners, legal contracts, marriage, married life. It also represents our foreign residence or a residence far from birth town. It represents our external sexual organs, our sexuality, sexual habits. It represents our large intestine and anal area. This house is also termed as Maraka place. That means the killer place as well. So these are the common traits of seventh house. Now let's move forward and discuss about eighth house, what eighth house represent in Vedic astrology. Eighth house represents transformations, obstacles, sudden events, tragic accidents, serious accidents, death and death-like events, deep research, loans or unearned money like legacies, inherited money, change of lifestyle, internal sexual organs, anal area. This house represents chronic or long-term diseases which are incurable. That is very important. And this house also represents our death. So these are the properties of 8th house. Now let's move forward and discuss about the properties of 9th house. So 9th house represents our father, our guru, our teacher, our bosses. This house represents our destiny. This is very important. This house represents our destiny, our luck. This house also represents our higher education institutes. This house represents the inclination towards temples. This house represents spirituality, meditation, long distance travel, foreign travel, So these are the properties of 9th house. Now let's move forward and discuss about the properties of 10th house. So 10th house is the house of karma, our house of occupation. This house represents our career, our job, status in life, our fame, our image at workplace, our authority at workplace, recognition from the government, position of politicians as well. This is very important. So these are the traits or the properties of 10th house in Vedic astrology. So now let's move forward and discuss about our 11th house. What 11th house represent? 11th house is the house of profits. This is the house of income, house of gains. Whatever hard work we do in our life, the result, the output which we get from our hard work is calculated from this house. So this house represents our rewards from work or job, our promotions, our long-term desires. This house also represents our elder brothers, elder sisters. This house represents our desires and ambitions. So these are the common traits or properties of 11th house. Now let's move forward and discuss about 12th house. What 12th house of birth chart represent? This house is the main karaka of moksha. This house is the main karaka of isolation. This house represent isolation. This house represent losses. This house represent expenses. This house represent imprisonment. This house represent serious hospitalization. This house represent imprisonment, as I told you. This house also represents our sleep. This house also represent our travel to foreign land, our visit in foreign land. This house represents our hidden enemies. This house represents left eye for males and right eye for females. This house also represents those diseases which cannot be diagnosed. This house represents sleep related diseases like insomnia. So this is the property of 12th house or traits of 12th house. So it's better to learn the most important aspects of the house. Like 9th house represent our luck. So whenever we analyze birth chart and check about the luck, then we see the 9th house. Similarly for disease, we see the 8th house and 12th house. So these are the most important point. You have to take out those most important point from each and every house so that it will be easy for you to remember those. I think things are very clear now, and you can use these points as a notes as well in this tutorial. Similarly for karma or occupation, when we talk about our occupation, when we talk about our profile, job profile, we have to analyze, we have to see the 10th house. As 10th house major role is our karma or occupation. In that way it will be more easier for you to understand the concept of each and every house. Now let's discuss the meaning of these numbers in different houses. As you can see here, what is the meaning of these numbers? Let us first understand which number belong to which planet. If the number 1 is written in any house, that means it belongs to Aries and the lord of that house is Mars. So you have to note these points. These are very important in Vedic astrology. So if number 1 is written, that means that house belongs to Aries and lord is Mars. Lord of that house is Mars. Let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. So here you can see a birth chart and you can see that number 1 is written in the 8th house of this birth chart. That means the 8th house lord is Aries and which belongs to Mars. Hence we can say that 8th house belongs to Mars or lord of 8th house is Mars. I think the concept is clear. Now let us take another example here. Here we can see the lord of first house, that means the number 1 is written in our first house of birth chart. That means the lord of first house is Mars here. Now if number 2 is written, then it means that house belongs to Taurus and the lord of that house is Venus. Taurus belongs to Venus as Aries belongs to Mars. Now let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. Here we can see that number 2 is written in the 9th house of birth chart. That means it belongs to Taurus and Lord of this house is Venus. Hence we can say that in this birth chart, 9th house Lord is Venus. So let us take another example here. In this birth chart, number 2 is written in the 2nd house of birth chart. Hence we can say that Lord of 2nd house in this particular birth chart is Venus. Now if 3 number is written as you can see here, then it belongs to Gemini and Gemini belongs to Mercury. That means the Lord of that house is Mercury. So if number 3 is written, then it means the Lord of that house is Mercury. Let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. Here we can see number 3 is written in the 10th house of birth chart. That means it belongs to Gemini and Gemini Lord is Mercury. Hence we can say the Lord of 10th house is Mercury. Let us take another example here. Here we can see in 3rd house number 3 is written. That means this house belongs to Mercury itself. If number 4 is written, that means it belongs to Cancer and Lord of that house is Moon, as Cancer belongs to Moon. Let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. Here we can see that number 4 is written in the 11th house of this birth chart and number 4 belongs to Cancer and Lord of this house is Moon, as Cancer belongs to Moon. Hence we can say the Lord of 11th house of this birth chart is Moon. Let us take another example here. Here we can see the 4th house. In 4th house number 4 is written and hence Lord of 4th house is Moon here. If number 5 is written, that it means the Lord of that house is Leo and Leo belongs to Sun. So that house Lord is Sun. Let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. Here number 5 is written in the 12th house of birth chart and number 5 belongs to Leo and Lord of this house is Sun, as Leo belongs to Sun and hence we can say the Lord of 12th house is Sun. Let us take another example here. Number 5 is written in the 5th house of this birth chart and hence we can say that Lord of 5th house is Sun here. If number 6 is written in any house, that means it belongs to Virgo and Lord of that house is Mercury, as Virgo belongs to Mercury. Let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. Here we can see that number 6 is written in the 1st house of birth chart and 6 belongs to Virgo and Virgo Lord is Mercury, and hence we can say that Lord of 1st house is Mercury. Let us take another example here. Here we can see that 6 number is written in the 6th house and we can say that Lord of 6th house in this particular birth chart is Mercury. If number 7 is written, it means it belongs to Libra and Lord of that house is Venus, as Libra belongs to Venus. Let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. Here we can see that number 7 is written in the 2nd house of birth chart and number 7 belongs to Libra and Libra Lord is Venus, and hence we can say that Lord of 2nd house in this particular birth chart is Venus. Let us take another example here. Here we can see that Lord of 7th house, where number 7 is written, is Venus here. If number 8 is written, it represents a Scorpio and Lord of that house is Mars, as Scorpio belongs to Mars. So let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. Here number 8 is written in the 3rd house of birth chart, where we can see that Ketu and Moon is also written, but we have to neglect that right now because we are not considering the planets which is placed in that particular house. We are focusing on the number only. So here number 8 is written in the 3rd house of birth chart and 8 belongs to Scorpio and Scorpio Lord is Mars. Hence we can say that 3rd house Lord is Mars here. Let us take another example here. Here we can see that number 8 is written in the 8th house, and hence we can say that Lord of 8th house in this birth chart is Mars. If number 9 is written, it represents Sagittarius, and Lord of that house is Jupiter. Let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. In this birth chart we can see that number 9 is written in the 4th house of birth chart, and number 9 belongs to Sagittarius, and Lord of Saggy is Jupiter. Hence we can say that Lord of 4th house is Jupiter here. Let us take another example here. Here we can see number 9 is written in the 9th house, and hence the Lord of 9th house is Jupiter. If number 10 is written, that means it represents Capricorn, and Lord of that house is Saturn. Let us understand this concept practically in a birth chart. In this birth chart we can see that number 10 is written in the 5th house of birth chart, and 10 belongs to Capricorn, and Lord of Capricorn is Saturn. Hence we can say that Lord of the 5th house is Saturn here. Let us take another example here. Here number 10 is written in the 10th house, and hence we can say that in this particular birth chart Lord of 10th house is Saturn. If number 11 is written, it represents Aquarius, and the Lord of that house is also Saturn. Let us understand this concept practically in this birth chart. Here number 11 is written in the 6th house of birth chart, and number 11 belongs to Aquarius, and Lord of Aquarius is Saturn. Hence we can say that in this birth chart Lord of 6th house is Saturn. Let us take another example here. Here number 11 is written in the 11th house, and in this way we can say that Lord of 11th house here is Saturn. If number 12 is written, that means it represents Pisces, and Lord of that house is Jupiter. Let us understand this concept practically in this particular birth chart. Here number 12 is written in the 7th house, and number 12 belongs to Pisces, and Pisces Lord is Jupiter, and hence we can say that Jupiter is the Lord of 7th house in this birth chart. Let us take another example here. Here in the 12th house number 12 is written, and hence we can say Lord of 12th house here is Jupiter. So let's do a quick recap on this. If number 1 is written, that means Lord of that house is Mars. If number 2 is written, that means Lord of that house is Venus. Number 3 belongs to Mercury. Number 4 belongs to Moon. Number 5 belongs to Sun. Number 6 belongs to Mercury. So there are two numbers that belongs to Mercury, which is number 3 and number 6. If number 7 is there, that means it belongs to Venus. So two numbers that belongs to Venus are 2 and 7. If number 8 is written, that belongs to Mars. So number 1 and number 8 belongs to Mars. Number 9 belongs to Jupiter. Number 10 belongs to Saturn. Number 11 represents Saturn. So there are two numbers that belongs to Saturn, that means 10 and 11. If number 12 is written, that means that belongs to Jupiter. So there are two numbers that belongs to Jupiter, which are 9 and 12. I hope that you can understood this concept now in a very easy way. So let's do a quick test on this what we have learned just now. So you have to give the answer by pausing the video. Here in this birth chart number 2 is written in the 8th house. So you have to tell me the Lord of 8th house. So here the Lord of 8th house is number 2 is written, so therefore Venus is the Lord of 8th house. Very simple. Let's do another question. Number 12 is written in the 3rd house, so you have to tell me the Lord of 3rd house. So as we know that 12 number represent Jupiter, so therefore Jupiter is the Lord of 3rd house here. So I think your concept is very clear now regarding to these numbers. So what these numbers represent in a birth chart. Now let's move forward and discuss our next concept, relation between planets. Which planets are friendly planets, which are neutral planets, and which are enemy planets. So let's discuss first friendly planets. Which are the friendly planets? So Sun, Mars, Jupiter and Moon are known as friendly planets. That means these planets when placed in the houses of each other, then they will give you some positive results. That means they are friendly planets, and if one friend visit another house, then they will behave properly, they will try to improve that house, and they will give their best results. Also friendly planets are Rahu, Saturn, Venus and Mercury. Here I am not considering Ketu as friendly planet in this group. I have put Ketu in another group, that is Ketu, Saturn, Rahu and Mercury. The reason behind that is Ketu is not friendly with Venus. As per my experience, as per my analysis on thousands of birth chart, I have analyzed that when Venus and Ketu are placed in the same house, or Ketu is placed in the house of Venus, then it gives you negative impact. So therefore I consider Ketu and Venus as enemy planets. So let's now discuss about the enemy planets. Rahu and Sun are enemy planets, Rahu and Moon are enemy planets, Rahu and Jupiter are enemy planets, Rahu and Mars are enemy planets, Saturn and Mars are enemy planets, Saturn and Moon are enemy planets, Saturn and Sun is enemy, Ketu and Venus is also enemy planets. So here you can see that Rahu Sun and Rahu Moon, so these group, so this particular group is considered the most enemy planets in this entire group. So always remember, whenever Rahu and Sun conjunction is there or Rahu and Moon conjunction is there, they are going to destroy that house, they are going to give you negative results, and we will be discussing all these impacts, all these impact of conjunction of different planets in our advanced topics. Now let's understand the concept of neutral planets. Here I have prepared a very easy table for you so that this concept will be easily understandable to you. Here Mercury is a planet which is friendly to both the groups. There are two groups, as you can see here. In one group Sun, Moon, Mars and Jupiter is there, which are friendly to each other, and in another group there are other planets Saturn, Venus, Rahu and Ketu, which are friendly to each other. Here Ketu and Venus are not friendly to each other, and other planets are friendly to each other, as we have already discussed. So Mercury is friendly to Jupiter and also friendly to Rahu and Saturn. So here Mercury is called a neutral planet. With the help of these green arrows, the things are very clear to you. Now I think the concept of friendly planet, enemy planet and neutral planet is very clear to you. So now let's take a test on this. So let's take a quick test on this. You have to tell me Sun and Mars are enemy planets or friendly planets. You have to pause the video and answer the question. As we know and we have already discussed that Sun and Mars are friendly planets and belongs to the same group. Therefore Sun and Mars are friendly planets. Now let's take another example. Let's take another test on this. You have to tell me Saturn and Sun are friendly planet or enemy planets. So as we have already discussed that Saturn and Sun are enemies of each other, so therefore these are enemy planets. Now let's move forward and discuss the concept of good houses and bad houses in a birth chart. So what are good houses and what are bad houses in a birth chart? Always remember this, that first house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, seventh house, ninth house, 10th house, 11th house are considered as good houses in any birth chart. However, third house, seventh house are not considered good houses for some planets, which we will discuss later. Sixth house, eighth house and 12th house are considered as bad houses. These are the bad houses of a birth chart, as we have already discussed that these houses belongs to diseases, death, accidents, loan, enemies, etc. So that is why these houses are not considered good houses and represent bad houses in a birth chart. So let's take a quick test on this now. You have to tell me 8th house is a good house or a bad house. So we have already discussed that 8th house represent our diseases, represent our death. So this house is a bad house. So let's move forward and discuss about the exalted sign and debilitated sign of planets. Exalted sign and debilitated sign of planets. First discuss about the exalted sign of planet. So let us first understand what is the meaning of exalted sign here. Exalted sign is basically the sign in which any particular planet gives you its best and very best results. So that is called exalted sign. Always remember that exalted sign is that sign or house in which any planet, in which any particular planet gives you its best results. And we have to remember this, that which planet is exalted in which sign. So let's move forward and discuss first about the exalted sign of planet. So let us understand first Sun. So Sun is exalted in Aries sign. That means if Sun is placed in the house where number 1 is written, then we can say that it is the exalted sign of Sun, or we can say that Sun is placed in its exalted sign where Sun will give the native its very best results. So always remember that if Sun is placed in a house where number 1 is written, then it means it will give the native its very positive results. Or we can say that it will give you or give the native a Raj Yoga, which is the best placement of Sun. Let us understand this with the help of this example. Here Sun is placed in the first house and in the house of Aries. That is, Sun is placed where number 1 is written in the birth chart. Therefore, this is the best placement of Sun, and Sun is in its exalted sign. And whenever you find this placement of Sun, then remember that such person will be a king in his or her trade. Such person will occupy very high authority position, especially in a government sector. So this placement of Sun gives the person a Raj Yoga in his or her life. This is one of the strongest Raj Yoga in Vedic astrology. We will be discussing various type of Raj Yoga in a birth chart in our advanced topics in further videos. Always remember that placement of Sun in second house, third house, sixth house, seventh house, eighth house and 12th house will give you problems here. That means if Sun is placed in number 1 sign, that means Aries sign, in these houses, that means if Sun is placed in second house where number 1 is written, or in the third house where number 1 is written, or sixth house where number 1 is written, or seventh house where number 1 is written, or eighth house where number 1 is written, or 12th house where number 1 is written, it will give you problems, it will give you negative results, as it is going to increase the impact of that particular house. Always remember that if any planet is exalted in any sign, then it is going to increase the result of that particular house. You have to remember that. And placement of Sun in these houses, that means the second house, the third house, sixth house, seventh house, eighth house and 12th house is not considered a good placement. You have to note this, as houses number 2 and 7 is not considered good for Sun, for other planets it is not the case. So always remember for the case of Sun. Now let's move forward and discuss about Moon. Moon is exalted in Taurus sign. So Moon is exalted in Taurus sign. So if Moon is placed in a house where number 2 is written, as you can see here, that means Moon is exalted in this particular house and will increase the result of that particular house. Always remember that for Moon also, second house and seventh house is not considered a favorable position of Moon. As you can see in this birth chart, Moon is placed in the second house and seventh house. So always remember that these positions are not favorable for Moon in the birth chart. So let's move forward and discuss about Venus. So Venus is exalted in Pisces sign. That means if Venus is placed in a house in which 12 number is written, that means Venus will give its very best result here. Now let us understand this concept with the help of birth chart. In this birth chart we can see that Venus is placed in the house where 12 number is written. Therefore in this birth chart such person will be getting very positive results of Venus during the Mahadasha of Venus here. What is Mahadasha and Antardasha? We will be discussing this in the later part of this video. In such cases, Venus will give the person huge wealth, which is a dream of every person in his or her life. So I think your concept related to exalted sign is getting clear here now. Now let's move forward and discuss about Saturn. See, Saturn is exalted in Libra sign. That means if Saturn is placed in a house where number 7 is written, then it is going to increase the result of that particular house, and the native or the person will be getting very positive result for that particular house, or the Saturn is going to increase the result of that particular house only. Now let's understand this with the help of a birth chart. In this birth chart, Saturn is placed in the house where number 7 is written, as you can see here, which belong to Libra. Therefore we can say that Saturn is placed in the exalted sign in this birth chart. Therefore Saturn will be giving very positive results during Mahadasha or Antardasha of Saturn, and it will going to change the entire life of such person. It will make a person king in his professional field during Saturn Mahadasha or Antardasha. Now let's move forward and discuss about Jupiter. So Jupiter is exalted in Cancer sign. Now let us understand this with the help of birth chart. Here we can see Jupiter is placed in the 5th house where number 4 is written. Therefore the lord of this house is Cancer, and hence Jupiter is placed in the exalted sign, which further implies that during Mahadasha such person will attain the peak of his or her career, and mind of such person will be very sharp, very creative. Such person will be very intelligent. Whatever work he or she will do, he will attain the peak during the Mahadasha of Jupiter in his or her life. Now let's move forward and discuss about Mars. Mars will give very positive result if number 10 is written. That means Mars is exalted in the Capricorn sign. So if number 10 is written in a house and Mars is placed there, then it will give the person very positive results related to that particular house. Now let us understand this with the help of birth chart. Here we can see that Mars is placed in the 4th house where number 10 is written, and hence Mars will give its very positive results here. Such person will reach peak in its career during Mars Mahadasha, and if such person is in sports, then he will become world famous during Mars Mahadasha, it is for sure. So Mars in the house of Capricorn here will change the entire life, entire career of such person during Mars Mahadasha. Now let's move forward and discuss about Mercury. So Mercury is exalted in its own sign, that is in Virgo. So if Mercury is placed in a house where number 6 is written, that means Mercury is going to give the person a very good result, very positive results here. Now let us understand this with the help of this birth chart. In this birth chart, Mercury is placed in the first house of birth chart where number 6 is written. That means the lord of the first house in this birth chart is Virgo, and hence we can say that Mercury is placed in its exalted sign here. Such person in Mercury Mahadasha will attain his or her maximum in the career, attain the peak in his career. Such person will attain everything in life whatever he or she will desire. Mercury will change the life of the native during its Mahadasha period. Now let's move forward and discuss about Rahu. Rahu is exalted in Sagittarius sign. That means if number 9 is written in any house and Rahu is placed there, then Rahu will give the native a positive result. We will be discussing the impacts of Rahu in different houses as well in our advanced topics. But we have to see that Rahu is placed in which house. This is very important, because Rahu and Ketu topic is the most important and most confusing topic in Vedic astrology. Various astrologers give various prediction, various analysis for the placement of Rahu and Ketu in different houses, in different signs in Vedic astrology. Let us understand this with the help of this example, this birth chart. Here Rahu is placed in the 4th house and number 9 is written in that house. That means the lord of this house is Sagittarius, and hence Rahu will give its very positive results. But the cases are different for Rahu here when we compare it with other planets. Here negative aspects of Rahu will also be there, and such native has to face problems at home, stress at birthplace, and what all other problems he has to face during Rahu Mahadasha. We will be discussing this in our advanced topics. So before giving predictions for Rahu, one should not refer books, rather do practical research on this topic. That will help you in giving perfect prediction on any planet, on Rahu also. I have also done lot of research on thousands of birth chart related to Rahu and Ketu placement, and I have also prepared various videos in which I have mentioned what will be the impact of Rahu in different houses. You can also refer that if you are interested in that. And also I am going to prepare more videos in this concept, on this particular concept. So let's move forward and discuss about Ketu. Ketu is exalted in Gemini sign. So if number 3 is written, let's understand this practically in this birth chart. Ketu is placed in the house where number 3 is written. That means the lord of this house is Gemini. As per books and theory in astrology, it is believed that Ketu give positive results in Gemini sign. However, after doing the research on thousands of birth chart on this particular topic, I found that it is not the case. It also depends on various other factors, various other conditions in birth chart. So Rahu Ketu topic is very interesting topic in Vedic astrology. You have to do practical research on this topic before giving any prediction, as this is my personal suggestion that in this materialistic world no one should face Ketu Mahadasha in his or her life. And why I am telling this, you can watch my videos on decoding mystery of Ketu. Things will be very clear to you. Now let's discuss about the debilitated sign of planets. So let's first discuss what is debilitated means here. Debilitated means a number or a sign in which any planet will give its negative result. Wherever you face a term like debilitated sign of planet, that means that planet will give negative result pertaining to that particular house if it is placed in its debilitated sign. So let's discuss about the debilitated sign of various planets. For Sun, the debilitated sign is Libra. That means if number 7 is written, as you can see in this birth chart, Sun is placed in Libra sign. That means Sun will give its negative results in this particular house. For Venus, Virgo is its debilitated sign. So if Venus is placed in a house in which number 6 is written, that means Venus will give its negative impact related to that particular house. For Moon, Scorpio is a debilitated sign. That means if Moon is placed in a house where number 8 is written, that means Moon will be giving its negative result related to that particular house. For Jupiter, Capricorn is a debilitated sign. That means if Jupiter is placed in a house where number 10 is written, that means it is going to give its negative impact, negative result for that particular house. For Saturn, Aries is its debilitated sign. That means if Saturn is placed in a house where number 1 is written, then Saturn is going to give the person its negative result related to that particular house. For Mercury, Pisces is its debilitated sign. That means if number 12 is written in a house and Mercury is placed there, then Mercury is going to give its negative result related to that particular house. I am showing you the example here and we are not discussing in details, as we have already discussed in detail in the exalted sign. And as we have discussed that debilitated is just opposite to exalted sign, that means whenever the planet is placed in the debilitated sign, that particular planet will give its negative results, and you have to remember the properties, you have to remember the details of each and every house thoroughly, so that things will be very clear to you. So here I am showing the example of birth chart where planets are placed in debilitated sign. For Mars, Cancer is a debilitated sign. That means if in any house number 4 is written and Mars is placed in that particular house, then it is going to give its negative result. For Rahu, Gemini is its debilitated sign. That means if number 3 is written in any house and Rahu is placed there, it is going to give its negative result. For Ketu, Sagittarius is its debilitated sign. If Ketu is placed in the house where number 9 is written, as you can see here in this birth chart, that means Ketu is placed in its debilitated sign of Sagittarius and hence will give its negative results here. So there are lot of other factors which also impact the negative result of planets, which we are going to discuss in our advanced level of tutorial. So let's do a quick recap on this. For Sun, Libra is a debilitated sign. For Venus, Virgo is a debilitated sign. For Moon, Scorpio is a debilitated sign. For Jupiter, Capricorn is debilitated sign. For Saturn, Aries is a debilitated sign. For Mercury, Pisces is a debilitated sign. For Mars, Cancer is a debilitated sign. And for Rahu, Gemini is a debilitated sign. And for Ketu, Sagittarius is a debilitated sign. So let's do a quick recap on exalted sign and debilitated sign. That will be better for you. That will give you a quick reference of exalted as well as debilitated sign here, and later on we will be doing test on exalted and debilitated sign. So for Sun, exalted sign is Aries and debilitated sign is Libra. For Venus, exalted sign is Pisces and debilitated sign is Virgo. For Moon, exalted sign is Taurus and debilitated sign is Scorpio. For Jupiter, exalted sign is Cancer and debilitated sign is Capricorn. For Saturn, exalted sign is Libra and debilitated sign is Aries. And for Mercury, exalted sign is Virgo and debilitated sign is Pisces. For Mars, exalted sign is Capricorn and debilitated sign is Cancer. For Rahu, exalted sign is Sagittarius and debilitated sign is Gemini. For Ketu, exalted sign is Gemini and debilitated sign is Sagittarius. So here I am going to teach you a very shortcut method how to learn exalted sign and debilitated sign. So first thing you have to do is you have to just learn the exalted sign only. So let's do our quick technique how we will find debilitated sign by using exalted sign here. Let us take the example of this birth chart. Here Sun is placed in Aries and exactly the 7th house we have to see. That means if we look at the 7th house from Sun, where Sun is placed in Aries sign, that will be the debilitated sign for Sun. So here Sun is placed in Aries sign, and if we count 7 houses from Sun, that means that includes the house where Sun is placed, and we will find that the 7th house from Sun is of Libra sign. So that means Libra is the debilitated sign for Sun. So that is the quick technique how to find the debilitated sign. So let us take another example. Here Venus is placed in the Pisces sign. That means 12 number is written in this particular house where Venus is placed, and exactly the 7th house from Venus is of Virgo. So that means for Venus the debilitated sign is Virgo. So I think this technique is more useful for you, so that it won't be difficult for you to remember the debilitated sign. So let's take another example. For example, Jupiter is placed in the Cancer house. That means where 4 number is written, and if we count the 7 houses from Jupiter, then we will find the 7th house is of Capricorn. That means the lord of the 7th house from Jupiter is Capricorn, and Capricorn is the debilitated sign for Jupiter. And I think now the complete concept of exalted sign and debilitated sign is very clear to you, as I have tried my level best to make you understand in a very simple way what is the meaning of exalted sign, what is the meaning of debilitated sign, and what all are exalted sign and debilitated sign for different planets. So let's move forward and take a quick test on this particular concepts, that means exalted sign and debilitated sign, which will be enhancing your concept here. So here is the birth chart in which you can see various planets are placed in different houses. So you have to pause the video here and take a note of the planets which are placed in the debilitated sign, which are placed in the exalted sign, and after writing all the details of these planets, restart the video and check your answers. For your reference, a table is there so that we can quickly check our answers. So let us see first Saturn. So Saturn is placed in the 7 number house. That means 7 belongs to Libra, and Libra is a exalted sign for Saturn. Now let's move towards Moon. So Moon is placed in the Scorpio house. So Scorpio is the debilitated sign for Moon, as we can see in the table itself, and Ketu is placed in the Sagittarius house. So we can say that Ketu is also placed in the debilitated sign. Now let us move towards Jupiter. So Jupiter is placed in the house of Capricorn, and Capricorn is the debilitated sign for Jupiter. Now let us move towards our 7th house of birth chart, where Mercury and Venus both are placed. Here we can see that number 12 is exalted sign for Venus, and number 12 is debilitated sign for Mercury, and hence we can say that Venus is placed in the exalted sign and Mercury is placed in the debilitated sign. Now let's move towards Sun. Sun is placed in its exalted sign, but you have to be very careful here, as placement of Sun in the 8th house is not a good placement. That means during its Mahadasha period, Sun will increase the result of this particular house too much. That means it is going to give you very negative result, as this house is not a good house, as we have already discussed it in the beginning. So result of Sun in its Mahadasha will be very negative for the person. So let's move towards Rahu. Rahu is placed in the 10th house, where Lord of the 10th house is Gemini, and for Rahu, Gemini is the debilitated sign, and hence we can say Rahu is placed in debilitated sign. So you can check your answer and also write it in comment section that how much you have scored in this particular test. That will be a motivation factor for the new learners. Now let's move towards our next concept, how to check the impact of planet by using degrees in a birth chart. Whenever you see any birth chart, you can find that degrees are written for each and every planets like this, as you can see in this birth chart. So let's discuss how we analyze the impact of planets by using degrees of these planets. Here I have categorized degrees in 5 different sections, which is very important. I have categorized this so that it will be easier for you to remember this. So whenever you find degree of a planet from 0 to 6 degrees, that means we can say that particular planet is in early childhood stage. It means that the power of the planet is the same as the power of a child in early childhood. That means such planet is weak in birth chart. If you find the degree of a planet between 6 to 12 degrees, that means that particular planet is in childhood stage. In such case, the planet will be little more powerful in comparison to the early childhood stage, and will be able to give better or worst result as per its placement in the birth chart. So if you find the degree of planets like 12 to 18 degree, that means that particular planet is in young age. This is the very strong position of planet. If any benefic planet is having such degree, then such person will be getting very positive results. On the contrary, if malefic planets are having strong degrees, then such person will face predicaments in life. Such person will face lot of problems, lot of hurdles in life. If you find the degree of planet from 18 to 24 degrees, that means that particular planet is in old stage. This is again a weak position of planets. If benefic planets are weak, then it won't give you that good results. And if malefic planets are having such a degree, then they won't be able to give that negative results. So if you find the degrees of planet from 24 to 30 degrees, then it means that particular planets are in death position. It is likely to be a zero position or zero power of planets. If planets are having such a degree, then they won't be able to give any results, or we can say that they will be giving very negligible results during their Mahadasha or Antardasha period. On the contrary, if malefic planets are in such position, then negative impacts of such planets will be very less in the life of the person. Now let us understand this concept with the help of this birth chart. Here you can see a birth chart which is of Aries ascendant, where Sun is placed in the first house. So I think such technical terms are now very clear to you. Here we can see that Sun degree is 27 degree 07 minutes, that means 7 minutes. Here SU stands for Sun, which is at the bottom of this birth chart in a rectangular box. MO stands for Moon, MA stands for Mars, ME stands for Mercury, JU stands for Jupiter, VE stands for Venus, SA stands for Saturn, RA stands for Rahu, KE stands for Ketu. So here Sun degree is 27 degrees and 7 minutes. That means Sun is in death stage, and if we see the position of the Sun, which is in Aries ascendant, that is very strong position of Sun, but Due to the very less degree of this sun in this particular birth chart, that means during its Mahadasha and Antardasha period, sun will not be able to give its 100% result here, and the results will be very less. We can say 5%, 10% like that only. So moon degree is 15 degree 29 minutes. That means the position of the moon is very strong here, and moon is placed in its own sign, that is sign of Cancer, and its position is very strong. That means moon will be giving very positive results during its Mahadasha and Antardasha period here. MA stands for Mars, and Mars degree is 19 degree 33 minutes. That means Mars is in early old age stage. That means Mars will be giving very little impact, or we can say it will be giving about 50% of result during its Mahadasha and Antardasha period. ME stands for Mercury, and Mercury degree is very less, that is 6 degree 19 minutes. Therefore Mercury is in childhood stage and will be giving 50% or 40% result in this particular birth chart during its Mahadasha and Antardasha period. Jupiter, which is of 8 degree and 31 minutes, again Jupiter is in childhood stage and it is going to give the person only 40% to 50% of result in this birth chart. Venus is 16 degree 25 minutes, that is in young age, and Venus will be giving very positive or negative result, as we can see that Venus is placed in its own sign, that is in sign of Taurus, and it will give you very positive result. That means it will give the native, the person, very positive results during its Mahadasha and Antardasha period. Saturn degree is 27 degree and 10 minutes. That means Saturn is in death stage here, and Saturn is placed in its own sign, that is sign of Capricorn, but due to its very less degree, its impact in this particular birth chart will be very less, and it won't be able to give 100% results during its Mahadasha and Antardasha period, which is very strong position in this birth chart of Saturn. However, it won't be able to give that strong results, that powerful results in this birth chart due to its very negligible degree. Rahu and Ketu degrees are 19 degrees and 6 minutes, and they are in the early old age stage. So Rahu negative impact or positive impact will be very less. That means 40 to 50% impact will be there in this particular birth chart. Now we have learned that how to check the degrees of planet, how to read the degree of planet, and what will be the impact, how to read the impact according to the degrees of planet in a birth chart. So let's move further and let's discuss how to see the Mahadasha or Antardasha in a birth chart. What is Mahadasha? Let us understand first. Mahadasha is called after the great period in a person's life. A particular stretch of time in an individual's lifespan is ruled by a particular planet. This time period is known as the Vimshottari Mahadasha of that planet. Mahadasha can change the entire life of any person, and it also destroy the entire life of any person. It depends which Mahadasha the person is going through. If the Mahadasha is of benefic planet, comes at the right time in any person's life, then it will change the entire life in a positive manner, and with less efforts such person will achieve everything very easily. On the contrary, if Mahadasha is of malefic planet, will come at the wrong time at the peak of anyone's career, then it will destroy the career of the person, it will increase the hardship in life, it will increase the predicaments in life. However, we will be able to reduce the negative impacts of such Mahadasha by doing some remedies, which we will be discussing in our advanced topics. So let's move forward and discuss the sequence of these Vimshottari Mahadasha to understand this in more detail. Here I have prepared a chart for you in which in the left side we can see that planet is written, and in the right side we can see the time span of Mahadasha in anyone's life a person has to face. So for Sun, the Mahadasha period is for 6 years. For Moon, it is for 10 years. For Mars, it is for 7 years. For Rahu, it is for 18 years. For Jupiter, it is for 16 years. For Saturn, it is for 19 years. For Mercury, it is for 17 years. For Ketu, it is for 7 years. For Venus, it is for 20 years. So this is the sequence basically, which if you see anyone's birth chart, or if you can see your birth chart, then this particular sequence you have to follow. But it is not necessary that the person will born in Sun Mahadasha and will always follow this. But if anyone is born in, let us say, Mars Mahadasha, then after that he will face Rahu Mahadasha, Jupiter Mahadasha, and so on, as we can see in the given table. So when sages prepared this Vedic astrological methods and done their calculation thousands of years back, at that time they calculated that during Kali Yuga period, which is going on now, the life of a human being will be maximum 120 years. So the total time span of these planets, that means if we add the time period of all the Mahadasha here, it adds up to 120 years. So it is highly unlikely that any person will repeat his or her Mahadasha. Let us understand this concept with the help of this birth chart practically. Whenever you see a birth chart, Vimshottari Dasha is written somewhere. So you can check, like in this particular birth chart, Vimshottari Dasha is written, and whatever first Mahadasha is written, that is JU. JU stands for Jupiter. That means this person was born under Jupiter Mahadasha, right? So after Jupiter, Saturn, that means this person will face Saturn Mahadasha, and after Saturn, this person will be facing Mercury Mahadasha. After that, the sequence will follow as we have already discussed. Now, if we further expand Mahadasha, then we can see that under Jupiter, again Jupiter is written. That means in Jupiter, Jupiter Antardasha is there, and this particular period is the end period. This particular period is the end period of this Antardasha. After Jupiter Antardasha, that means the second part of this position, here Saturn is there. That means after Jupiter, Saturn Antardasha will be there, and after Saturn Antardasha, Mercury Antardasha will be there. So after Jupiter, Saturn Antardasha will be from 17th of December 1964 to 30th of June 1967 for approximately, we can say, 2.5 years. So these are the Antardasha period which a person has to face during Mahadasha period of any planet. So Mahadasha period is a large period, that means a bigger period in comparison to Antardasha period, and Antardasha period will be for 1.5 year, 2.5 year, or 1 year. That depends upon the planet here, like Ketu, Mercury, Venus, Sun, whatever planet will be there, that will be according to that only. So I think your concept related to Mahadasha and Antardasha will be clear now, and you can easily check your own Vimshottari Dasha, from which Vimshottari Dasha you are going through right now, or whatever Vimshottari Dasha you have already faced in your lifespan. So let's move forward and take a quick test on this particular concept. So let's do a quick test on this. For how many years Moon Mahadasha run? So you have to tell me how many years Moon Mahadasha will run. As we know that Moon Mahadasha will run for 10 years. Our next question is, what is the span of Saturn Mahadasha? So you have to tell me for how many years Saturn Mahadasha will run. So answer is Saturn Mahadasha will run for 19 years. Our last question on this concept is, what is the span of Venus Mahadasha? Venus Mahadasha will run for 20 years. So I think we have discussed this concept in detail here. Now let's move forward and discuss about the aspects of planets in a birth chart. This is one of the most important concept in Vedic astrology, as different planets have different aspects. That means if a planet is placed in one house, then on how many houses it will aspect, on how many houses it will be going to impact. Let us understand the aspect of different planets one by one here, theoretically as well as practically. So let's discuss about Mars first. Mars will aspect 4th house from where it is placed. It will aspect the 7th house from where it is placed. It will aspect the 8th house from where it is placed. So let's understand this concept practically here. In this birth chart, Mars is placed in the 1st house, and as per our previous discussions, Mars will aspect 4th house, 7th house and 8th house, as you can see with the help of these arrows here. Now let's discuss about Rahu aspect. Rahu will aspect the 5th house from where it is placed. It will aspect the 7th house from where it is placed, and it will also aspect the 9th house from where it is placed. So let's understand this practically as well. In this birth chart, Rahu is placed in the 10th house. In this birth chart, then Rahu will aspect the 2nd house, the 4th house, the 6th house of birth chart, as you can see here with the help of these arrows. Now let's move forward and understand about Ketu aspect. Ketu will aspect in the same manner as Rahu aspect. That means 5th house, 7th house, 9th house from where Ketu is placed. So let's understand this also practically. Ketu is placed in the 4th house in this birth chart. Then Ketu will aspect the 8th house, the 10th house and 12th house of this birth chart, as you can see with the help of these arrows. Now let's move forward and discuss about the aspect of Jupiter. So Jupiter will also aspect the 5th house, the 7th house and the 9th house from where it is placed. Now let us understand this practically. Jupiter is placed in the 5th house of birth chart in this particular birth chart. Then Jupiter will aspect the 9th house, the 11th house and the 1st house of birth chart, as you can see with the help of these arrows. Now let's move forward and discuss about the aspect of Sun. So Sun will only aspect the 7th house from where it is placed. Now let us understand it practically here. Sun is placed in the 8th house of birth chart here. Then Sun will aspect the 2nd house of birth chart here, as 2nd house is the 7th house from 8th house. Now let's move forward and discuss about the aspect of Moon. Moon will also aspect the same way as Sun aspect. That means Moon will only aspect the 7th house from where it is placed. Let us understand it practically here in this birth chart. Moon is placed here in the 3rd house of birth chart. Then Moon will aspect the 9th house from here, as you can see with the help of these arrows. Now let us move forward and discuss about the Saturn aspect. Saturn will aspect the 3rd house from where it is placed. It will also aspect the 7th house and 10th house from where it is placed. Now let us understand this aspects practically. Saturn is placed in this birth chart in the 2nd house of birth chart. From here, Saturn will aspect the 4th house, the 8th house and the 11th house of birth chart, as you can see with the help of these arrows. Now let's move forward and discuss about the aspect of Venus. Venus will aspect only the 7th house, as in the case of Sun and Moon. So Venus will only aspect the 7th house from where it is placed. Let's understand this practically as well. Here Venus is placed in the 7th house of birth chart from where it will aspect the 1st house of birth chart, as you can see with the help of these arrows. Now let us understand Mercury aspect. Mercury will also aspect only the 7th house of birth chart. from where it is placed. Let us understand it practically as well. Mercury is placed in the 7th house from where it will aspect the 7th house of birth chart, as you can see with the help of these arrows. So all the planets will always aspect the 7th house. However, only Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, Ketu and Mars have different aspects as well, which we have already discussed. So here I have prepared a table for you which will be very helpful for you for quick revision. So here we can see that on one side I have written the planet and on the other side I have written the aspect of these planets. So let's start from the first one. Here Mars aspect will be on the 4th house, 7th house and 8th house. Now second number is Rahu. Rahu aspect will be 5th house, 7th house and 9th house from where it is placed. Ketu aspect will be 5th house, 7th house and 9th house. Jupiter also aspect the same 5th house, 7th house and 9th house as we have already discussed. Sun aspect will only on the 7th house. Moon will also aspect only the 7th house. Saturn will aspect on the 7th house, the 3rd house and the 10th house. Venus will only aspect the 7th house and Mercury will also aspect only the 7th house. So this table is very important for you. You can just write down somewhere and let us begin our test on this concept. So our first question is, in this birth chart Rahu is placed in the 1st house, then on how many houses it will aspect? So just pause the video and answer the question. In this birth chart Rahu is placed in the 1st house, therefore it will aspect the 5th house, the 7th house and the 9th house of birth chart, as you can see here with the help of these arrows. Our second question is, Jupiter is placed in the 4th house in this birth chart, on how many houses it will aspect? Just pause the video and answer the question. As Jupiter is placed in the 4th house, therefore it will aspect the 8th house, the 10th house and the 12th house of this birth chart, as you can see with the help of these arrows. So I think the concept of aspects of different planets in different houses is very clear to you now. Now let us move forward and let us discuss how to find the moon sign and the ascendant sign in a birth chart. So this is also a very important and interesting concept in Vedic astrology. So let us first discuss how to find the moon sign of a person in a birth chart. To find the moon sign, just check where moon is placed in the birth chart. So this is very important. Just check where moon is placed in the birth chart. For example, in this birth chart moon is placed in the 4th house, and check which planet is the lord of this house. That means which planet is the lord of 4th house. Here we can see number 4 is written in the 4th house, therefore Cancer is the lord of this house, and hence we can say that Cancer is the moon sign of this birth chart or this person. Now let us discuss how to find the ascendant or Lagna sign of the person. To check the ascendant in any chart, check the lord of the 1st house. This is very simple. Check the lord of the 1st house on any birth chart. Here lord of the 1st house is Aries, as we can see that number 1 is written in the 1st house, hence it is Aries ascendant. And all my prediction are based on ascendant only, as it is the most perfect method to do birth chart analysis. All my monthly predictions are based on ascendant chart. Now let's do a quick test on this. This is another birth chart. So what is the moon sign of this person? Moon is placed in the 4th house and 4th house lord is Libra. Therefore Libra is the moon sign of this person. Next question on this concept, what is the ascendant sign or Lagna sign of this birth chart? Here we can see that 4 number is written in the 1st house and number 4 belongs to Cancer, and hence the ascendant sign is Cancer here. I hope this concept is very clear to all of you now, as I tried my level best to make you clear the things in a very easy way. I hope the concept is very clear to all of you now. Now let's move forward and discuss what is Marka planets, that is the malefic planet, and how to find the Marka planet in a birth chart. As we have already discussed good and bad houses, here we need to focus on bad houses, which are 6th, 8th and 12th houses. So these houses are considered as the most malefic houses of any birth chart. So let's discuss it in detail, as it is very important concept in Vedic astrology. Marka planets are those planets which are the lord of 6th house, 8th house and 12th house of birth chart, but they should not be the lord of 1st house, 5th house and 9th house of birth chart. If in case any planet is the lord of 6th house, 8th house or 12th house and also the lord of 1st house, 5th house or 9th house, then in that case it will not be the Marka planet or malefic planet. Marka planets gives you very negative results during their Mahadasha and Antardasha period. It will be difficult for you to get the results as per your expectation during their Mahadasha, and hardship in life will be increased. Your struggle will increase in life. You will be facing lot of predicaments in all your job, in all your businesses during the Mahadasha of any Marka planet. Now let us consider this birth chart and understand this concept practically. This is the Aries ascendant birth chart. Here we can see that the lord of 6th house is Mercury, and Mercury is not the lord of 1st house, 5th house or 9th house. Therefore Mercury is called the malefic planet or the Marka planet in Aries ascendant. If we see that the lord of 8th house is Mars, but Mars is also the lord of 1st house, therefore Mars is not considered as the malefic planet or Marka planet in Aries ascendant. And if we see that the 12th house lord is Jupiter, that means 12 number is written in the 12th house, therefore the lord of the 12th house is Jupiter, but Jupiter is also the lord of 9th house. Therefore we can say that Jupiter is not the malefic planet or the Marka planet in Aries ascendant. So in Aries ascendant birth chart we can say that Mercury is the only malefic planet in this particular birth chart or in Aries ascendant. Let us consider this birth chart now, which is of Cancer ascendant, that is the lord of the 1st house is Cancer, that is 4 number is written in the 1st house, that means lord of the 1st house is Cancer or Moon. Now let's discuss here about the Marka planet. Now let's check the 6th house first and see the lord of 6th house. Number 9 is written in the 6th house, therefore lord of the 6th house is Jupiter. And now we have to check whether Jupiter is also the lord of 5th house or 9th house, and we can see that Jupiter is also the lord of 9th house, as number 12 is written in the 9th house here. Therefore Jupiter is not the Marka planet in this birth chart. Now let's check the 8th house here. Lord of 8th house is Saturn, as number 11 is written there, and number 11 belongs to Saturn. Now let's check whether Saturn is also the lord of 1st house, 5th house or 9th house, and we can see that Saturn is not the lord of these houses. Therefore Saturn is the Marka planet in Cancer ascendant. So I think your concept is clear regarding the Marka planet, how to find the Marka planet in a birth chart. Now let's move forward and discuss what is benefic planet and how to find the favorable or benefic planet in a birth chart. Planets which are the lord of 1st house, 5th house and 9th house are called the benefic planet, and these planets give you very positive results during their Mahadasha or Antardasha period. So these planets play very important role in changing the destiny of any person. Let us consider this birth chart of Capricorn ascendant. Here Lagna or the ascendant or the 1st house lord is 10 number, therefore it is Capricorn ascendant. Let us check the lord of 1st house, which is Saturn, therefore Saturn is a benefic planet of this birth chart. Now let us check the 5th house, where 2 number is written, therefore it belongs to Venus, and Venus is also the benefic planet and will give good results in its Mahadasha and Antardasha period. Now let's check the 9th house where 6 number is written, which belongs to Mercury, and hence Mercury is also the benefic planet here. Therefore Saturn, Venus and Mercury are the most benefic planets in Capricorn ascendant birth chart. So I think how to find the benefic planet, this concept is also clear to you now. Now let's move forward and discuss what is the neutral planet in a birth chart and how to find a neutral planet in a birth chart. Any planet which is neither Marka nor benefic planet, such planets are called neutral planet in a birth chart. So let us take an example of Aries ascendant. In this birth chart, if we see Venus, which occupies the 2nd house and the 7th house and does not belong to 1st house, 5th house, 6th house, 8th house, 9th house or 12th houses, and hence Venus is called the neutral planet in Aries ascendant. I think your concept related to neutral planet is clear now. It is very easy to find the neutral planet. If your concept related to malefic planet or Marka planet is clear, if your concept related to benefic planet is also clear, then you can easily find the neutral planet in a birth chart. I think this concept is very clear to you, how to find the Marka planet, how to find the benefic planet, how to find the neutral planet in a birth chart. So let us do a quick test on this concept now. Let us take this Capricorn ascendant birth chart. Please tell which planets are Marka planets in this birth chart. So pause your video and answer the question. If we check the 6th house, lord of 6th house is Mercury, as 3 number is written, but Mercury is also the lord of 9th house and hence Mercury is not the Marka planet here. If we check the 8th house where 5 number is written, which belongs to Sun, and hence Sun is the Marka planet of this birth chart, as Sun only occupies 1 house in every birth chart and hence Sun will give negative results during its Mahadasha and Antardasha period. If we check 12th house of birth chart, then number 9 is written in the 12th house, which belongs to Jupiter. Let's check whether Jupiter is also the lord of 5th house or 9th house, which does not belong to Jupiter, and hence Jupiter is the Marka planet in a Capricorn ascendant and will give its negative result during Mahadasha and Antardasha of Jupiter. So I think all your concept in this video are very clear now, as we have already discussed all the concept in very minute way, in very easy way. I tried my level best to make you understand things very clear in a very easy and interesting manner. Now let us revise the entire concept which we have covered in this video, which is very important part of this video, and we will do the complete analysis of birth chart. What all the concept which we have covered in this video we are going to cover in these birth chart. This is the birth chart in which we will analyze and discuss the entire concepts what we have learned in this video. I hope you will enjoy this practice session of the video, which is the most interesting and most important part to know the level of understanding about all the concept we have learned in this video. So let's move forward and check our concepts here. This is a birth chart and you have to answer the question which I will ask here. So this is our birth chart. So our first question related to this birth chart is, which planet is the ascendant or Lagna lord of this birth chart? So you have to pause the video, you have to answer it quickly. Which planet is the ascendant or the Lagna lord of this birth chart? Our answer is Mercury, since Mercury is the lord of the first house, as number 3 is written in the first house and number 3 belongs to Mercury. Question number 2. What is the moon sign of this birth chart? What is the moon sign of this birth chart? As we can see that moon is placed in the 9th house of this birth chart and lord of the 9th house is Saturn, where 11 number is written, which belongs to Aquarius. Hence we can say that the moon sign of this birth chart is Aquarius. Now question number 3. Which planet is the lord of the 5th house? Which planet is the lord of the 5th house? Here we can see in the 5th house 7 number is written. Therefore Venus is the lord of the 5th house, since 7 number belongs to Venus, which is the sign of Libra. So question number 4. Which planet is the lord of 12th house here? Which planet is the lord of 12th house here? Since number 2 is written in the 12th house and number 2 also belongs to Venus, hence we can say that it is owned by Venus. Hence the lord is Venus here. Question number 5. Which house represent the luck in the birth chart, and which planet is the lord of this luck house in this birth chart? Very interesting question. Which house represent the luck in the birth chart, and which planet is the lord of the luck house in this birth chart? As we know that 9th house is our luck house here, and 11 number is written in the luck house. That means in the 9th house 11 number is written. Therefore we can say that Saturn is the lord of the 9th house here. Next question is, which house represent our karma, our occupation in the birth chart, and which planet is the lord of this house? Which house represent our karma or our occupation in the birth chart, and which planet is the lord of this house? As we can see that 10th house, we know that 10th house is the house of occupation, our house of karma. Therefore in the 10th house number 12 is written, and number 12 belongs to Jupiter. Hence we can say that lord of the 10th house is Jupiter here. Question number next. Which house represent our foreign trips and also represent moksha or seclusion from life, and which planet is the lord of this house? I repeat, which house represent our foreign trips and also represent moksha or seclusion from the life, and which planet is the lord of this house? As we know that 12th house is the karka of moksha. It is the main karka of our foreign travel. Hence 12th house represent the house of moksha, represent the house of foreign trips, represent the house of seclusion from life, and here the lord of the 12th house is Venus. As we have already discussed that number 2 is written in the 12th house, and hence Venus is the lord of 12th house. Next question. Which house represent our house, vehicle and mother, and which planet is the lord of this house in this birth chart? Which house represent our house, vehicle and mother, and which planet is the lord of this house? As we know that 4th house represent our house, represent our vehicle, represent our mother, and therefore we can say here the 4th house is the house of our vehicle, mother, and hence we can say that house, vehicle and mother is represented by the 4th house, and here in the 4th house 6 number is written, and 6 number belongs to Virgo, and Virgo belongs to Mercury, and hence we can say Mercury is the lord of 4th house here. Next question. Which house represent diseases and death, and which planet is the lord of that house? Which house represent disease and death, and which planet is the lord of that house? As we know that 8th house represent our diseases, represent our death, and hence we can say that 8th house is the main karka of disease and death, and here 10 number is written in the 8th house. Therefore we can say that Saturn is the lord of 8th house here. Next question. What are the marka planets in this birth chart? what are the Marka planets in this birth chart. So here first we can see that 6th house lord is 8 number is written and Mars is there. Therefore Mars is the Marka planet here. Can we see that Mars is also the lord of 1st house, 5th house or 9th house? Here we can see that Mars is not the lord of 1st house, 5th house or 9th house. Therefore Mars is the Marka planet in this birth chart. Is there any other planet which is also Marka? There is no other planet in this birth chart as Marka. Why? Because in 8th house 10 number is written, which belongs to Saturn. Saturn is also the lord of 9th house. Hence Saturn is not the Marka planet in this birth chart. If we see the 12th house, 2 number is written, but 2 number belongs to Venus and Venus is also the lord of 5th house here. Hence we can't say that Venus is Marka here. Next question. What is the stage of moon in this birth chart according to the degrees? So what is the stage of moon in this birth chart according to the degrees? Here we can see that moon degree is only 3 degree 29 minutes and hence we can say that moon is in early childhood stage. I think the concepts are getting more and more clear to you guys. Next question is, what is the stage of Saturn in this birth chart according to the degrees? What is the stage of Saturn here? Saturn degree is 27 degrees 10 minutes and hence we can say that Saturn is in death stage here. Next question, which planet or planets are in young stage in this birth chart? As we know that young stage is represented by those planets which are between 12 degrees to 18 degrees. So here we can see that Venus is the only planet which is in young stage here in this birth chart. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if I will get 25,000 views and 1000 likes on this video, then I will make the second part of this video in which we will discuss more advanced topics of Vedic astrology. Till then, take care and enjoy the learning. Keep watching and keep sharing. Thanks for watching the video.